Our next speaker is somebody who's been in this game for a long time. She built a community program at Twilio from the ground up, and Twilio really nailed it. They set the standard for a lot of companies on how to build developer communities and building online communities. Now she's the head of community at HandUp, and HandUp is actually who helped us set up our charity partner this year. So we're really excited to have Meghan Murphy speaking with us. Please get ready. I know you're full, but we're going to give it a try. Give a big welcome to Meghan Murphy.
Thank you. Ow! Hey guys. So this morning before I came here, I unfortunately couldn't make David's opening and some of the early talks, but I was checking in on Twitter, and all I saw were tweets about David and Tim's hair. So then I straightened my hair before I came here. Just kidding. Sort of kidding. So we're going to talk about community as the new marketing. Before I dive into that, I wanted to give you a little context about where I am. As David mentioned, I'm now leading community and marketing with HandUp. So you can donate directly to people experiencing homelessness in your community, either on our site at handup.org or actually through a physical gift card that you can hand to someone on the street. And as David mentioned, Project Homeless Connect is one of our biggest partners. They were our first partner here in San Francisco, our first partner ever. And if you haven't gone by their table to learn about what they do, to sign up for volunteering, to write a really kind note that will go to a homeless neighbor, please do that. So David gave a quick rundown of my history, and I just want to share this, give you a little context about where I came from and why I'm here. So at Twilio, leading the community marketing team with an audience of developers, I also ended up founding Twilio.org, which is their social impact program, helping nonprofits get access to the platform. In what feels like kind of another life, I was doing communication strategy and media relations and even a little bit of biz dev in the agency world and the video game world. So hopefully that gives you a little context about my kind of winding path to community and why we're talking about community as the new marketing today. So because I know that there are no marketers in this room, we're going to just go ahead and define marketing. So this is from Wikipedia. Marketing is about communicating the value of a product or service for the purpose of promoting or selling that product. It's pretty straightforward. What is community? Preaching in the choir now, I know that. This is from CMX Hub, and this is actually a sub-definition of their greater definition of community. So a branded community has a specific business objective where you're creating a space for people to share experiences and share purpose. That branded community is an extension of the business. So at face value, different, right? Community is totally different than marketing. Purpose is totally different. I actually don't believe that at all, because the state of things right now is totally blended. Marketing is no longer a one-way communication channel. Businesses are completely shifting how they think about building their customer base. Community is the new way of marketing. It's already taking over the marketing programs, the product programs, the support. We have to own that. It's really important that we push our skills to the forefront of the business as our profession as a whole, and for you individually to be successful, because our businesses are holding us to the same objectives, for us to achieve the same objectives as the rest of the teams across the organization. And if you do it for one reason only, do it for the budget. Do it for the money. Because when you can prove the value of your community programs, when you can draw that line to where you're impacting the bottom line, you know you can leverage that for more budgets for your community programs. So I want to talk a little bit about how we can draw that dotted line from community over to what's happening in marketing, over to help achieve some of those marketing objectives, and where we can pull from marketing things, metrics, strategies to strengthen what we're doing with community. So there's 3 areas that I'm going to highlight where I really feel like community aligns with marketing. We're community builders. We don't sell. We're not here to sell you. But we kind of are. We really are. And I want you to think about lead generation as an inclusive, positive thing. Over 50% of marketers are going to use community as a strategy for lead generation on websites. And over 40% plan to do the same to nurture those leads. That's our job. We got to do that. We got to think about how we can work with marketing to help achieve these goals and keep community in our house, right? Everything you do brings users to your product. You have to take credit for that. I know this is like mind-blowing right now that you should track everything, but I have to repeat it, especially in this context. You should be tracking these things. Maybe you are tracking these things. Put them in a spreadsheet. It doesn't matter if you know what the numbers mean. It doesn't matter if it goes into some crazy dashboard. Just track everything. The easy ones, social, content, traffic, conversions, great. Are you spending time at events? Are you getting people's business cards? Figure out what CRM your organization is using. Put those emails in there and put your name right next to it. Because when a user comes to your product, a potential user comes to your product because of something you do, and then they become a paying customer, that turns into a marketing metric. But shouldn't it be your metric? Shouldn't it be the community metric? Customer experience, super buzzy right now. I like it. It means a lot of different things. Kind of like community means a lot of different things. This is where I see engagement really aligns with the marketing side. Because when a customer becomes a part of your community, that's an experience. And it supports major business goals. So there's 3 areas that I think about that kind of walk that line between a community metric and a marketing metric. And I want community managers to own it. Over 70% of marketers view customer centricity as critical to the success of their business and their role. Marketers, the marketing team, they want your customers to have a good experience. So help them do that. Work with your marketing team and figure out how some of your programs achieve those goals. We're familiar with these, right? The health of your community, the happiness, that's definitely a community metric, that net promoter score. So make sure that you're the one that's managing that and drawing that line between what you're doing for community to create that customer experience. Your support team, they've got their own metrics. They've got health and happiness in their own world. They have response times that they look at. But my guess is most people in this room are responding to things on Twitter and Facebook and Slack, email. Pay attention to that. You're doing support, you know that. It's not a mind-blowing thing, I'm telling you. But are you tracking it? Are you paying attention? Are you letting people know that you're contributing to the customer experience in that way? And then, of course, involvement. How involved a community member or a customer may be is directly related to their experience. So maybe they're part of an ambassador program, or they're just crushing it with referrals for you. That's your metric, and it also draws directly back to lead generation metrics. So again, we're community professionals. We create a space for people to come, be a part of something bigger, engage with each other, shared purpose. But for me, it really boils down to, I love you, community member, customer, please don't go anywhere else. Please stay here. That's a marketing metric called retention. And it's an important one, because you want to look at ways that you're contributing to the bottom line. This is it. A 2% increase in customer retention has the same effect as a 10% decrease in cost. This is a super wonky stat. Basically, it means losing and acquiring a new customer is way more expensive than keeping a current customer. Community programs directly impact retention. Again, you got to own this. Draw that dotted line back to what you're doing and why customers and community members are sticking around. This is where community shines, right? Where we focus on building loyalty and trust and empowering our community members. Yes, this is really hard to measure. I'm not going to fluff this one. It's tough. You got to look at what you're doing. You got to look at everything from the beginning of that lead gen process to the experience to things that you're doing now. I'm going to add one thing here about the lifetime value of a customer. And so essentially, that means when a customer signs up for your product, starts spending money, how much do they spend over the course of the time that they are with your product or service? It's the most basic definition. You should know what this means, and you should know how your company is measuring it, because you're doing things that are driving conversions of the lifetime value of a customer, driving that up. So know how to measure it. Make it a part of how you're thinking about community achieves marketing goals. So I don't want you to feel like you should tear down your community program and your things that you're doing and build them back up completely around marketing. But there are a couple really easy things that I really want to encourage you to walk away with. More mind-blowing tips here. Have a plan. And again, I got to reiterate this because I'm guilty of it too now that I'm with a 6-person company. If no one's asking you to write a plan, I bet you didn't write it. That's cool. Totally get it. But no marketing person and no marketing campaign has ever been executed without a plan. So do it for yourself. And in that plan, have really specific, measurable goals. Pull from marketing and figure out what numbers. Are you going to increase website visitors by 15%? Are you going to increase return visitors, a retention metric, by 10% this quarter? And use community tactics to achieve it. And of course, you're tracking everything. You have your plan, you have your measurable goals, and that means you can actually prove your impact. So even if no one asks you for it, when you need to come to the table and say, I want more money for my programs, or I want to build my team, you can show them exactly how you're impacting the bottom line and achieving those business goals. So at Twilio, the community team and the developer evangelism team all lived under marketing. But we weren't marketing to developers. We were building a movement. We were empowering the next generation of software people. We were just creating heroes. And at Hand Up Now, I am responsible for donor acquisition and conversions, but we don't market to donors. We're building a movement. We're changing the way that people give. We're changing the way that people can make an impact in their community. Because I am the first community marketing hire, when I build the team, I'm only going to hire community-minded people, and I'm going to continue to approach everything with a community, customer-centric focus. So, think about how your work is contributing to the growth of the customer base. Lead generation, qualified lead generation. Find out what that means in your company. How are you contributing to the overall customer experience? Where are your community programs hitting those metrics? Figure out what marketing's paying attention to. And of course, how are you helping retain your customers? Again, this is a huge business goal. Totally impacts the bottom line. And most of what you're doing now, this is directly related. Community as the new marketing is a good thing. I do believe it's going to be real mishmashed as we move forward, but that's cool. Because imagine that you one day will actually be the head of marketing, and maybe your title is Chief Community Officer, and you own that entire experience from start to finish. Because that's awesome, right? Thank you.